Welcome to the introduction of mechatronic system, model number 1 of session 2. It is related to the continuation of mechatronic system. The main components of mechatronic system are in mechanical systems, which may be actuators as well as sensors, as shown in sketch, and then input as well as output signal conditioning as well as interfacing, and then digital control architectures, finally graphical display. In the main thing in mechanical systems, in actuators, the actuators produce motion or cause some action. For example, we'll take solenoids or voice coils, DC motors, stepper motors, servo motors, or hydraulic as well as pneumatics. And then sensors. The sensors detect the state of the system parameters. It may be inputs as well as outputs. For example, switches, potentiometers, photoelectrics, digital encoder, strain gauge, thermocouple, accelerometer, etc. And then next thing is input signal conditioning as well as interfacing. That is, conditioning and interfacing circuits provide connection between control circuits and the input output devices. In input signal conditioning and interfacing, these are the discrete circuits or amplifiers or filters, that may be analog to digital converters or digital to digital converters. Next one is digital control architectures. Is the thing, but digital devices control the system. For example, we'll take logic circuits, microcontrollers or programmable logical controllers, sequencing and timing, logic and arithmetic, control algorithms, maybe communication, etc. And then output signal conditioning and interfacing. For example, I will take digital to analog converters, and then power transistors, power operational amplifiers, op amps, etc. Finally, the graphical display. Graphical displays provide visual feedback to the users. For example, I will take LEDs, light emitting diodes, digital displays, LCD or CRT, etc. cathode ray tube, etc. This is the main difference between conventional and mechatronics. Conventional is nothing but before using the mechatronic system is nothing but conventional, and then by using the different systems together and then you have to produce the components is nothing but mechatronic system. That may be categorized into different features. It may be size or mechanism, movement, drive, synchronization, structure, accuracy, and then control. These are the various features while considering conventional as well as mechatronic system. First we will take size. That is, without using the mechatronic system, the size of the component should be bulky, but the conventional system should be bulky. The size is more. And then by using the mechatronic system, the size is compact. The next feature will go for mechanism. Without using the mechatronic system, the system should be of complex, and then by using the mechatronic system is simple. Next we will take movement. By using the mechatronics, that is programmable and adjustable. Without using the mechatronic system, that is conventional system, not adjustable. Next we'll go for feature drive. In conventional, the speed is not varying, that is constant speed. By using mechatronic system, speed should be vary, that is variable speed. And then next we'll go for synchronization. By conventional, that is maybe of mechanical, and then by using the mechatronics system, that may be electronic. Next structure. Without using the mechatronic system, that may be leads to rigid as well as heavy. By using the mechatronic system, it may be lighter, that is lighter. And then we'll go for accuracy. In accuracy, by using the mechatronic systems achieved by feedbacks, and then determined in conventional system, determined by tolerance of mechanism. Next feature is nothing but the control. In conventional, there is no automatic, only manual you have to control. By using the mechatronic systems, it may be automatic. These are the difference between conventional as well as mechatronic system. Next we'll go for mechatronics approach or objectives of the mechatronics. The main objective of mechatronics is integration of mechanical system with electrical, electronics and computer system. By incorporating all these systems together, we have to improve the efficiency of the system, to reduce cost of production, to achieve high accuracy and precision, for easy control of the system, customer satisfaction and comfort is the main thing of this by using the mechatronic system. And then this is the mechatronics design process. The mechatronics design process consists of this modeling and simulation, prototyping and then deployment. In modeling and simulation, there are several stages will be occur, that is recognition of the need, conceptual design, mathematical modeling, sensors and actuators, development of detailed model, control system, and finally optimization. After finishing this modeling as well as simulation, then we will go for prototyping. In this hardware design as well as simulation, and then some design optimization, and finally we will go for deployment. In deployment of software and manufacturers and testing life cycle. After finishing this, again cycle is recycle. And then mechatronics applications. In mechatronics applications, in almost all area you are using these mechatronics applications. Starting from home. In home, they are using washing machine as well as automatic camera. And then in business, Xerox as well as copying machine, barcode readers, etc. And then in industrial, they are using conveyors as well as automation control, in automobiles, ABS, car engine management, etc. In almost all areas using these mechatronics applications, that is smart consumer products, that is home security, in camera, micro oven, toaster, dishwasher, dryer, climate control units, etc. In medical applications, it is implant devices, assisted surgery, haptic, etc. In defense also you can find these mechatronics applications, unmanned air, ground and underwater vehicles, smart munitions, jet engines, etc. In manufacturing also you can find these mechatronics applications in robotics, machines, processes, etc. In automotive you can find the applications in climate control, anti-lock brake, active suspension systems, cruise control, airbags, and engine management system, safety, etc. Network centric as well as distributed systems also you can find these mechatronics applications. Distributed robotics, tele-robotics, intelligent highways, etc. Next we'll go for sensors and transducers. Sensors and transducers are essential elements in measurement and control systems. First we'll take the sensor. Sensors are those elements which respond directly by reading to the measurand. Measurand is nothing but physical quantities to be measured. For example, I will take in an ordinary dial indicator, the contacting spindle acts as a sensing or detecting element. This is the sketch of sensor. That is the input will take as physical changes and the output is the signals, physical quantity to be measured and then output quantities, measured quantities. Next, transducer. Transducer is a device which is, when activated by one form of energy, is capable of converting into another form of energy. For example, we will take measurement of pressure using Bourdon to pressure gauge. Here the Bourdon to first senses the pressure, then converts into displacement. And this is the sketch of this transducer, basic concept of this transducer. And then input signals you have to take, and there is the conversion of one form of signals to another form. That is, maybe for example you will take measurement of pressure gauge by using Bourdon to pressure gauge. Here the Bourdon to first senses the pressure, then converts into displacement. That is the conversion of one form of energy to another form is nothing but a transducer. Next we'll go for detailed classification of transducer. In examination point of view, this classification of transducer is important. And in classifications of this transducer, that is depends on several classifications. We will take one by one. First one you will take whether the device senses and converts or just converts a physical phenomena. Second type is nature and type of output signals. And then next type is according to whether they are self-generating or externally powered type. Next type is according to purpose in the measurement system. Next one is the type of sensing element used, their application, that is type and nature of measured. Next one is method of conversion of energy. We will discuss one by one. First one we will take based on whether the device senses and converts or just converts the physical phenomena. In this there are two types, primary transducer as well as secondary transducer. Primary transducers are detectors which senses the physical phenomena and converts into analogous output. For example, we'll take thermocouple. Here, the thermocouple is used to measure temperature as a junction. The junction senses the radiant heat energy and directly converts into an analogous electrical output, which is in the form of voltage. Next one is secondary transducer. Secondary transducers are those which converts the analogous output of the detector, which has sensed the physical phenomena, into an analogous output. For example, we will take measurement of compressive force with the help of load cell. Here there are two types. First one is force into displacement by columns, and then these columns into strain gauges measured with the load cell. Here the columns acts as primary transducers and strain gauges acts as a secondary transducer. Next, nature and type of output signals. In this, again classified into two types: analog transducer as well as digital transducer. Here, analog transducers is nothing but digital transducers and analog transducers. In digital transducers are those which converts physical phenomena into an electrical output, which is in the form of pulses. For example, we will take angular digital encoder or digital level transducer. Analog transducers are those which converts physical phenomena that is measured into analogous output, which is a continuous function of time. For example, we will take strain gauges, thermocouples, and then linear variable differential transducers, transformers, etc. LVDT. Next type is based on self-generating or externally powered type. In this type, again is classified into two types: active transducers as well as passive transducers. Active transducers are those which develop their own power. One power is nothing but in terms of voltage as well as current, also known as self-generating transducers. For example, we will take photovoltaic cells, piezoelectric pickups, etc. And then passive transducers are those which require some external power for producing output signals. These passive transducers is also known as externally powered transducers. For example, we will take thermistors and differential transducers. Next type is based on measurement system. Again classified into two types: input transducers as well as output transducers. Input transducers is nothing but it converts a non-electrical quantity into an electrical system. For example, we will take strain gauges and photovoltaic cells are input transducers, and then output transducers converts electrical signal back into non-electrical signals according to whether they make physical contact or not. Again, this output transducers, contact output transducers, and then non-contact output transducers. Next type is based on type of sensing elements used. Again, this is classified into four major groups: elastic element, mass sensing element, thermal sensing element, and hydropneumatic element. In elastic element is nothing but action of elements is based on elastic deformation brought about by the force resulting from pressure summation. Uh, Examples: springs, and then torsion rod used for measuring force and torque, etc. In mass sensing element, based on the inertia of the concentrated mass. Examples in vibrations, mass pickups, etc. In thermal sensing element, it senses the temperature of the system by indicating some changes in the property of the material used, which varies with temperature. For example, thermocouple. Last type is hydropneumatic element, used in static fluids, converts liquid level into displacements. For example, meters or orifice meters, etc. Next type is based on type and nature of measure. In these again classified into five major groups: mechanical transducer, electrical transducer, magnetic transducer, thermal transducer, and other type of transducers. The main thing is mechanical transducers are used to measure such as position, velocity, force, torque, etc. In electrical transducers are used to measure some voltage, current change, and electrical conductivity, etc. Magnetic transducers, it is for measuring magnetic field flux and permeability, etc. Thermal transducers, it is for measuring thermal conductivity, specific heat, etc. Other type of transducers such as acoustic, ultrasonic, chemical, optical, and then laser, etc. Last type of this transducer classification is based on method of conversion of energy. In this type, using the mechanical linkages as in case of simple dial gauges, and using the properties of materials like resistance, conductance, and capacitance, etc. For example, I will take strain gauges are used to measure the mechanical strain of a member due to load or force. These are the main classifications of transducers. Next we'll go for performance terminologies of transducers. We'll discuss one by one. First we'll take range and span. The range of a transducer defines the limits between which the inputs can vary. The difference between the limits, that is the maximum value minus the minimum value, is known as span. For example, I will take a load cell is used to measure a force. An input force can be vary from 20 to 100 Newton. Then the range of load cell is 20 to 100 Newton, and the span of load cell is 80 Newton. That is 100 minus 20. You will get load cell of span of 80. Next we will discuss about error. Error is nothing but the algebraic difference between the indicated value and the true value of the measured parameter is termed as the error of the device. That is, error is nothing but the indicated value minus the true value. For example, we will take if the transducer gives a temperature reading of 30 degrees centigrade, when the actual temperature is 29 degrees centigrade, then the error is plus 1 degree centigrade. Next we will take accuracy. Accuracy is defined as the ability of the instrument to respond to the true value of the measure variable under the reference conditions. Next we will go for sensitivity. Sensitivity is the relationship between showing how much output we can get per unit input, or also called sensitivity is nothing but output per input is nothing but sensitivity. And precision, it is defined as the degree of exactness for which the instrument is intended to perform is nothing but the precision. And an hysteresis error, when a device is used to measure any parameter, plot the graph of output versus the value of measured quantity. For first for increasing the values of the measured quantity, then for decreasing the values of measured quantity. The two output readings obtained usually differ from each other. It is as increasing or decreasing. This is nothing but hysteresis error. Repeatability, as the name indicates, repeatability and reproducibility of a transducer or its ability to give the same output for repeated applications of the same input value. Next, reliability. The reliability of a system is defined as the possibility that it will perform its assigned functions for a specific period of time under given conditions. Is nothing but reliability. Next we will go for stability. Stability of a transducer is its ability to give the same output when used to measure a constant input over a period of time. Next, drift. The term drift is the change in output that occurs over time is nothing but drift. Dead band. There will be no output for certain range of input values. This is known as dead band. There will be no output until the input has reached a particular value. Next is dead time. It is the time required by the transducer to begin to respond to a change in its value. Next, resolution. Resolution is defined as the smallest increment in the measured value that can be detected. It's also called resolution is the smallest change in the input value which will produce an observable change in the input. Last one is backlash. Backlash is defined as the maximum distance or angle through which any part of the mechanical system can be moved in one direction without causing any motion of the attached part. Backlash is an undesirable phenomena and is important in the precision design of gear trains. Next we'll go for static and dynamic characteristics of transducer. Now first we'll discuss about static as well as dynamic characteristics. The behavior of transducer under steady state condition is called static characteristics. That is, the transducer has settled down after receiving some input is called steady state condition. The behavior of transducer between the time that input values changes the time that output settles down to a steady state condition is called dynamic condition. In static and dynamic characteristics, there are 5 major items. In this, speed of response, response time, rise time, settling time, and finally the time constant. We'll discuss one by one. First, we'll take speed of response. The rapidity or quickness with which a transducer responds to change an input is called speed of response. Next, we'll take response time. The time taken by a transducer to come to steady state condition after the change in input or application of input is called response time. Next we'll go for rise time. The time taken by a transducer to rise 50% of steady state condition is called rise time. Next, settling time. The time taken by a transducer to settle with some of its steady state value is called settling time, say 5% of steady state value. Last one is time constant. This is the 63.2% of response time. The time constant is a measure of inertia of sensor, how fast it will react to changes in its output. The bigger is its time constant, the slower will be its reaction to change in output signal. Thank you. And then I'll mainly thank Dr. Pundrika, LMS coordinator, the principal, Government Engineering College, Ramnagara, and then main moderator, myself, Dr. Muniraju, Department of Mechanical Engineering, Government Engineering College, Chamarajnagara, and convener, Professor Vasant Kumar, HS, Department of Mechanical Engineering, Government Engineering College, Kushalnagara, and other two guest faculty members, Nagaraj Puseri, GEC Raichur, and then Chetan KS, GEC Chamarajnagar. Thank you.